Hey, Ron Coddington here from Military Images Magazine with a new episode of Life on the Research Trail. This morning's journey took me down the trail related to the soldier pictured here. His name is William Stroup Fultz, and he served in the 11th Illinois Infantry. In doing some research about Sergeant Fultz, I discovered that he compiled his journal entries and letters that he'd written during the war into a reminiscences. It's a history of his company, Company D. And there's some memorable passages in this reminiscence. The his complete work was published in the Iowa Journal of History. And I want to give you a flavor of his writings by sharing what I think is a fairly unique description of the physical sensation of going into battle for the first time. Let me read this to you. This is Fultz talking now. He says, to give a description of the sensation experienced when first going into battle is almost an impossibility. Now, I want to tell you, he writes this all based upon that first experience after and during the Battle of Shiloh. So he says it's almost impossible. He continues to say, the quick nervous sensation causing every muscle to quiver and the whole being to shake, not with fear, for the bravest of the brave were so affected with this sensation that their guns in their hands refused to lay still. And despite all that a man could do, his musket would shake in his grasp. This peculiar sensation wore off as the battle progressed, and at each battle in which we were afterwards engaged, this sensation was less and less felt, until toward the latter part of the war, it was no longer felt. The boy is going into a fight with the same coolness that they now go to their daily work. It's a great description that gives you a sense of not only the physical experience of the shaking that goes on, the uncontrollable shaking, the involuntary shaking where you cannot hold on to your musket, your whole body is just quivering. Imagine having that experience, and then imagine that you're not alone, because everyone in your regiment, in your company, no matter how long they've been in, no matter, especially in the beginning, or how long they've been in, or how they said they felt, they still had this reaction. So what I like even as much or not more of Fultz's passage is he continues and he talks about an experience that happens right after Shiloh. So let me read this to you. He says, I remember getting up very early on the morning of the 8th of April, 1862. So you're 24 to 48 hours after the battle. He says, I remember getting up early, very early, on the morning of the 8th of April, 1862, and going to the wood pile and picked up an axe and commenced to chop wood. It was still morning, and the first stroke of the axe, resounding through the woods, reminded me of the first sound of musketry on the morning of the 6th, and the same quivering sensation passed through me. Nor was I alone, for many of the boys stuck their heads out of the tents to see what was the matter, and I got a good many curses for thus scaring them out of their sleep. Of course, he says, I laid the axe down, but scarce 5 minutes after, an axe was ringing at the right of the 2nd Brigade, which was camped near where we first met the enemy on Sunday morning. This brought many of the boys out of their tents, some of them imagining that we were attacked. This, however, soon wore off, so that 100 axes might have been at work without being noticed. So really interesting observation and experience from Sergeant Fultz. I hope you enjoyed this anecdote of what it was like to be in battle through the eyewitness account of Sergeant Fultz of the 11th Iowa Infantry. So we will see you in another video. Until then, happy trails. Bye.